Well, hello. How are you this mighty fine evening? The birds, that's the evening birds, sounding the alarm that you better get your stinking rear end inside if you're a day dweller. But you know what? I'm reading a book in the darkness. Yes. One of my favorite times to read intense and thrilling books is right before I go to sleep. Any of you like that? I know. I gotta look for ways to keep my heart pounding because I'm borderline bored. Not often, but a lot of the time. So I've gotta find ways to do thrilling things.
Check this out. I finally got a pawpaw. This is the largest native fruit in North America. This is obviously not massive. However, the smell coming off of this thing is unbelievable. It's almost like a custard. Oh yeah. You eat the seed right away, swallow it whole. So then when you poop later, you dig your little hole with your trowel and then you cover it up and you just planted a pawpaw. Now you want to poop near a watery area, like near a creek. It makes a big difference. Now, oh my gosh. It is literally like mango banana custard. It smells like you dipped yourself inside of the citrus grove of delight from Central Florida. Oh. There's like definitely a banana, like a ripe banana, but like cantaloupe and mango all intertwined with a like, gosh. Smell-o-vision. You need to experience this. I've been waiting for years when I started reading about regenerative agriculture and native
like
plant
custard.
species.
Oh.
You go try it.
Oh. Look at that dew on the grass. You can see it behind Nathan there. So, Nathan, does he say in the Water Cure book to walk on the dew to kind of build up?
Listen, it's obviously,
up to the cold
some of you are
plunging.
watching this like, you're ridiculous. I'm not going to get in that water like that. I understand. It's because you're soft. I love you, but you're soft. In order to become a man or a woman, the way you were designed to be, you've got to become tougher. You've been civilized. It's what happens when you live in cities and you live in air-controlled environments. Air conditioning poisoned the world. I get it. I love being cool inside. I'm not trying to dig on you. It's just the way we design our houses is an absolute living nightmare. Now, if you want to get tougher, just start by walking barefoot on wet, soft grass like this. Right there.
Let's go.
It's super inviting, okay? You can start right there. The best to walk on is freshly fallen snow. But I understand. You're like, ah! That's good for you. You need to experience adversity. It says in the book of Hebrews, Yeshua, the son of Elohim, like the King of Kings, y'all. It says he learned obedience through suffering. See, it's good for you. It's good for you. You'll learn to be a better man and a woman by suffering. And you know what? I'm moderately suffering, but right now inside, I literally feel those incredible autonomic nervous system is kicking on right now and it's warming my body up. And I feel exceedingly better. I really do. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like I need to do some jumping jacks though.
She's still moderately cold. It's only like 60 degrees this morning.
Woo!
I'm bringing back some water too.
But you will feel so refreshed, y'all.
I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Not like this style, you know? I've been doing these like rapid fire interviews. Some of you, I'm sure, are very aware. You're like, man, you've done a lot of interviews. Dude, tell me about it. It's been busy. Like at night, every night. That's like what I do. 5-6 nights a week. But you know what? I just wanted to sit down with you guys tonight and be like, hey, this is what I'm up to lately. Because all of that conversating with people, I've done like 90 interviews in the last 3 or 4 months. And it's just made me realize that I need to keep studying up like never before. Like I can't just continue to rely on things that I'd learned in the past before me. So I'm reading quite a few different books. And I just wanted to bring one of them down here with you guys and talk to you about one of my favorite chapters inside of it as I've been going along here. And this book is called Expelling Darkness, Engaging Non-Human Entities, Now and in the End of Days. I got this book because someone said that if you want to find one of Russ Dizdar's secret books, you can email this lady at dizdarbooks@gmail.com. And I totally got a copy of this. I'd never read it before. This is one of his last books that he wrote before he died. Was killed off. But you know what? Praise be to Yah. At the end of the day, you know what's good when people die? Some of us figure out that we better pick up where they left off and keep running, son. Be thankful for the work that they did and go and be fruitful and multiply. That's what you all need to do. Seriously consider it. Because there's a lot of really jacked up people out there who are one prayer away from freedom. Just something to consider. I'm not talking about like just inviting Jesus into your heart moments. I'm talking about deliverance from constant oppression, from like strongholds that have ripped through their lives and destroyed everything they ever knew as normal. There's a lot of people who are literally a simple prayer away from freedom. And that's one of those skill sets that we should be proficient in. We should be well versed in. And the truthful reality is, most people do not grow up being trained on what are the fundamentals of spiritual warfare. How do we engage non-human entities? Because they're all around us. And they're always seeking a door in. They're like predators stalking in the darkness. Right down here, there's a lone solitary wolf that comes through this forest occasionally. Not long enough for me to make friends with him. So sometimes I go out in the middle of the night, like in the summer. And I was going out and I was calling to him. And then waiting for him to respond. No luck yet, but pray for me. I want to be a friend with the wolves so bad. But I also carry a giant Osage orange staff just in case. That being said, I'm just going to read to you guys before the late light fails me here. And we're going to talk about one of my favorite passages in the book of Hebrews, a mighty ferocious one. Because some of you guys need to gear up, son. You know what I'm saying? Like the days are evil and it's ferociously nasty out there a lot of times. And that's great hunting environments for people like us. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, he has this chapter, many chapters all through here. But one of the preeminent things that he has in here is a hunger for memorization of the word. Like, you need to put this word inside you so, like, you don't go to war without your weapon. Like, don't go around naked in a battle. Be like, you could bring this little tiny sword to a gunfight. You could bring a big sword. You can bring a spear. Always bring the spear. Spears are always better. Or you can bring the most living and active, dangerous, deadly tool that you've ever been given. So, we're going to talk about some of that today. Here it is, this chapter. Hang in there. It's worth it. He just goes through the way that they operate. You need to know the rules of engagement. You know what that means? Chapter 5, son. What demons and Satan can do. This is fundamentals. You got to know, like, their legal grounds, their legal rights. What is it they're allowed to do, and how can they enact those things on this earth? So, I'm going to read you one of my favorites. This demon attacked and tried to bite into the psychologist's arm. The demon gave them a headache. These are different, like, testimonials of experiences he's had over the years. The demons gave them a headache. Satan pushed me, the boy said to them. The voices in her head told her to drown her child, and she did. They can visit at night, rushed past you, and seek to paralyze you in fear, sleep paralysis. They tempt, throw down, choke, make sick, walk by you, cause a person to pass out. They grab, taunt, and seek to create fear. And if not fear, curiosity. They pull, seduce, whisper to you, bug, pursue, invite, send demonized people to you, follow you, lie, harm, kill, oppress, attack, attach, possess, to start with. The evil spirit answered and said, Yeshua I know, and Paul I know, but who are you? Then the man in whom the evil spirit was jumped on them, overpowered them, and prevailed against them, so that they fled from that house naked and wounded. They can start new religions, inspire a cult, create a secret society. They are teachers. They inspire the deceived with visions and dreams. They seek to counterfeit everything Elohim does and says. They want to deceive everyone, but that's not enough. They want to mold and use the deceived to deceive many others. Maybe you haven't heard this yet, so let me tell you. There will be more demons and the total force of Satan himself manifesting, driving, and guiding the affairs of this world in the end of days than at any other time in collective human history. They will target everyone. See, we are at that time where there is an unprecedented release of these evil spirits, these restless spirits wandering, seeking to devour. Truly like predators stalking in the darkness, which means we must be a counterforce to that. People who are filled with the absolute power, the explosive power that drives back that force, because the world is going to be looking to solutions, answers, and we must be ready to give an answer to anyone who asks us to give a reason for the hope that is within us. And though we're going to talk about some of those things that they can do, let me tell you, there's greater power in us through the Messiah than any force of nature, than any force of evil could ever contend with. And that is the good news. That is the news that sets people free, that people need to know there is hope for them, even amidst their suffering, even amidst their sorrow, their depression that won't leave them, the schizophrenic voices that are coming on the outside, attacking them. There is deliverance from those strongholds of addictions, from lust, from an insatiable need for more. There is a cure. And it's found in his word, but it's found in an authentic relationship with him. It's found in power encounters, powerful encounters, where a force of unstoppable fury meets an absolute force of peace. This is literally the calming of the wind and the waves. This is the Gadarene who's cutting himself in the tombs, unchained, unable to be bridled, meeting the one who clothed him with his sanity. He gave him his sound mind back, clothed him with his sound mind. He sat there in front of everyone, and then he was used as the witness to go to the nations and tell them the good news. These are some of those characteristics that we're going to have to identify and be able to understand who our enemy is, who is our adversary, and how do we wrestle with him. Satan and or demons can inspire, move upon a person who believes it, to write, to draw, to do art, to sing, or anything that the demon inspires. By extending their power, energy upon, and or in a person who is supernaturally led to produce, the result is what I call charged demonized writings. Think now of the tens of thousands of books, writings, and even lyrics of a song that have been pushed or inspired by a demon. They can lead a person to write a book, give a prophecy, give a vision, give instructions for lyrics of a song, inspiration for fantasy, writing, art, gaming, or drama, movies, and demon-inspired entertainment, design and technology, to be used for the destruction of the world and or the beast system when it comes. See Revelation 13, the dragon and Satan, full force giving their power. They inspire weapons. Who will be the inspirer of the weapons that will be used at Armageddon when they seek to stop and destroy Christ? See Revelation 19:19. Who will create the things that will be used when the Antichrist is here? The mark of the beast and the image of the beast, the false prophet, breathes a spirit into the image. It becomes alive and speaks. Listen, there can be no end of days without these works. This is why those spirits, those lying, seducing spirits, have gone out to pour out this ideology, this doctrine into the hearts and the minds of men. And there's more and more people who are willing to open those doors. One of the main methodologies, like when I did security consulting work out in Boulder, Colorado, it's a big technology-driven arena, especially with data storage. And people were literally taking specific types of drugs to open up their minds to commune with these spirits, who were giving them schematics, who were giving them methods of data storage specifically, and others who are getting formats for how to hardwire and encrypt communications. That was way more secure than anything else that was out there. And it was giving them these leaps beyond their competitors. And so this kind of became a cultural normative that was known and understood. Hey, this is what a lot of the culture is. If you guys aren't aware of something called Burning Man and some of these festivals, a lot of it has to do with a mixture where people from Silicon Valley and others that are a part of big tech go to do specific drugs in these rituals to try to get these spirits to train them up on how to have cutting edge technology. But ultimately, like Russ is contending here, this is so that there can be a ground laying force, a literal physical hardware to be able to contend against the Son of Righteousness at his return, to wage a war. Like it says, the dragon is wroth, enraged with the children of Elohim, those who guard the commandments of Yahuwah and keep the testimonies of Yeshua. And he goes to make war with them. So like you need a warrior army, you need soldiers in order to go in that battle. This is where the formation of that comes from. This is why funding and financing gets funneled into that kingdom, because truly it's like the satanic system out there. But there is good news as we go along, as we learn the traits of this, how we can make a difference in it. There is no end of days without them. He cried out mightily with a loud voice, saying, Fallen! Fallen is Babylon the Great! She has become a dwelling place of demons, a haunt for every unclean spirit, and a haunt for every unclean and hateful bird. Revelation 18. In the last days, seducing spirits, 1 Timothy 4. Counterfeit supernaturalism by Satans and demons, 2 Thessalonians 2. This is how we know it is the last hour. There are many antichrists who have gone into the world. 1 John 2. They oppress. And Yeshua said to them, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to sift you, to have you, and that he may sift you like wheat. Luke 22:31. This is why we're all fanatical about fresh milled flour, y'all, because Satan's literal devices was to sift out the bran and the germ. It's like most of you who pick up a Bible and you think it starts in the book of John. There's another 2/3 to it, the bran and the germ, nutrients that you must have in order to be able to eat the fullness of the gospel. There's an entire gospel message from Genesis to Revelation. And I challenge you, if you've never read the Bible for yourself, from beginning to end, do it. Because then you actually know if you believe what it says. It's important that we know what we believe, because otherwise we're basically foundationless. And this is one of the great tactics of the enemy. It's like eating dead flour, dead bread all the time. It will kill you if you only live on that. You literally cannot live on it. Whole grain, fresh milled flour completely satisfies vitamins, minerals, amino acids. Everything you're needing to live is found in that bread, but not that sifted bread. And that's literally Satan's devices, was to go in and to sift out these things, so be careful. The fiery arrows of the evil one, they are involuntary thoughts and feelings sent by Satan or demons to cause doubt, fear, and confusion. See Ephesians 6. They attack. Then the man who had the evil spirit jumped on them and overpowered them all. He gave them such a beating that they ran out of the house naked and bleeding. It's Acts 19. See the book of Job. Put on the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. And therefore take up the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to resist in the evil day. The dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as he was born. Revelation 12. They attach. And don't give the door, and don't give up. They attach. And don't give the devil an opportunity, a doorway, a legal right, a topos. Ephesians 4:27. They possess. His fame went throughout all Syria, and they brought to him all sick people who were taken with various diseases and tormented with pain, those who were possessed with demons, those who had seizures, and those who had paralysis, and he healed them. Matthew 4:24. They piggyback. But when he had turned around and looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are not mindful of the things of Elohim, but the things of men." Mark 8. They can get into a life without them knowing. He gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. After receiving the piece of bread, Satan entered him. John 13:26. There is no scripture that shows Judas knowingly opened a door or a feeling the moment when Satan entered his life. Remember, Judas never believed the full power Yeshua had, nor had he had protection, for he was a man of greed, and Satan used that. They seek revenge. From the voice of him who reproaches and reviles, by reason of the enemy, an avenger. The enemy bent on revenge. Psalms 44. They subdue and can control nations. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me for 21 days. So Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left there with the king of Persia. Daniel 10. They prowl, lurk, and seek. They have now encircled us in our steps. They have set their eyes to bend down to the earth. It is like a lion that is anxious to rip its prey, and as a young lion lurking in secrecy. Psalm 17. 1 Peter 5:8. Satan seeks to, lurks, and pursues someone to devour them. But what else can we say about them? Satan was instrumental in bringing down all of humanity, and what he did there reveals the tactics he and the demons use to this day. They will help shape the end of history, as revealed in the Revelation, a book of prophecy with detailed future events. They will bring chaos, the slaughter, persecution, false signs, and wonders. They will bring the mark and the image of the beast. They will bring the Antichrist, the false prophet, the New World Order, the beast system. They will bring the global system of Babylon that seduces the world. They will open the abyss. They will be used to cause Armageddon and will create the history's largest military system. They are the inspiration to the military-industrial complex. Understand, when you're looking at these massive technocrats, these corporate entities, there is a spiritual force ruling behind them, like the gods of Mars, like these mighty ones who have been known and honored and revered and worshiped and listened to and hearkened to by mankind. For thousands of years, they still enact their power games on this earth through human agents. Isn't that enough? What else can we discern then? Who can engage them, and what tools of man can gain a victory over them? There are none. Humanity opened the door and gave the rights. Satan and the fallen ones have the rights to be here, and they seek total subjugation. There is no equipment, human intel agency that can investigate them. They are suprahuman, and their power, presence, and works run circles around a fallen world where men's spirits are dead to Elohim. Ephesians 2:1-2. Who can help humanity? What politician, military, nation, or intellectual can detect, discern, or confront and stop them? What can mere fallen humanity do? Does humanity slap its hands and cry, "All is lost"? Heavens know. Get ready. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty Elohim, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and over his kingdom, to order it, to establish it with justice, with righteousness, from now on until forever. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts will perform this. Isaiah 9. But the angel said to them, "Listen, do not fear, for I bring you good news of great joy, which will be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Messiah, the Master." Luke 2. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. All things were created through him, and without him nothing was created that was created. In him was life, and the life was the light of mankind. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not overcome it. The darkness could not withstand it. There was a man sent from Elohim whose name was John. This man came as a witness in order to testify concerning the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not this light, but was sent in order to testify concerning the light. The true light which enlightens everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was created through him, yet the world did not know him. Yet to all who received him, he gave the power to become sons of Elohim, to those who believed in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of Elohim. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we saw his glory. The glory is the only Son of the Father, full of grace and truth. John 1. A hero has come. I am not ashamed of the gospel. There is no one like him at all. He is totally exclusive and forever distinct. This is our eternal Elohim. Let us create man in our image and in our likeness. This is the one the prophets were writing extensively about for hundreds of years before he came. Considering this present darkness and the array of what Satan and demons and fallen angels are, and what they can and are doing and will do, is there any hope? Is there any power, plan, and assurance of triumph over them? Oh, Christian, go read Colossians 2:15. Because of the dark side and all it is, does, and will do, there is for the fallen world, inhabitants of the earth, nothing but dire devastation coming to the world. But because of Elohim, in Messiah, there is indestructible hope and a vast, massive, huge presence and power and plan that is indestructible and coming. Titus 3:1-5. And that is all and because of Yeshua of Nazareth. It does depend on where you stand. When you don't know Yeshua and you don't know him very well, then what I have written in this book so far may disturb you. It shouldn't. If you know Yeshua, and if you should rock you to the core if you don't know him, if you're not a saved believer. The dark side and all of who they are and what they have and will do doesn't disturb me as in fear. All they are doing and will do outrages me. The dark side moves me to stand in the presence of Elohim, to be defiant to that menace and seek Yahuwah for the best and most of what Elohim has to do in his mission and oppose that destructive force. All of this moves me to boldly go to the throne of grace, from Psalms to Revelation 4 and 5. The locality where Elohim moves and speaks and hears, and stand there before Elohim and the hero of humanity, Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah. I will stand there to be just still in the omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience of the infinite Elohim, whom I know and who knows me. What I have in Yeshua, all this love of his grace, mercy, presence, and power, all of this cleansing, forgiveness, freedom, and healing, all this empowerment, joy, and future hope, so great a salvation. And someone wants me to be disturbed as in fear about the devil and demons, who are forever finite, corrupt, judged, defeated, and will be extricated from the future forever by the hero of redemption. So if you're ever asked to be ashamed, what will you do? What will you say? Will you be bold as a lion? So then, as the children share in the flesh and blood, he likewise took part in these, so that through death he might destroy him who has the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver those who through fear of death were throughout their lives subject to bondage. That is the paramount passage that defines our world. So many have lived their lives in perpetuity, forever trapped in the fear of death, which is bondage. If we fear death, we are willing to compromise so many moral, civil, righteous character attributes in our life. If we fear death, it can drive us to make decisions that are reactionary, emotionally based. At the root of fear is a failure to faith, failure of belief. It is lack of confidence in your Creator, because over and over you are reminded to not be afraid, not be troubled, over and over. If you read it from Genesis to Revelation, just do a word study on fear. It will set you free from that panic attack, from that anxiety disorder, from all of those things that churn in your stomach about what tomorrow can bring, and the pressures of what society and those rulers, those technocrats are trying to put around our necks to control our speech, to control our actions, what we do with our bodies. Who is sovereign over our bodies, them or us? But the Father has given you sovereignty. So this day you have a choice whether you put down those fears of men, fears of failure, fears of falling short, and trust in him and know that he is overpowered, and by his love, by his mercy, by his truth, and by the power of walking in his ways, he will fill you with the electric courage that you need, the boldness, the tenacity, the articulate speech that you need to engage and explain to others why you believe what you believe, because this world is perishing and all who are in it. But we are the ones who are made to set fire to the beacons of hope, to show them a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. We were made to be the beacons of truth, shining out in a world filled with deceit. This is our opportunity to show the people who he is, why we are his chosen people, his ambassadors, because we do what he says. We're willing to live a life that's set apart and funky and peculiar, all kinds of strange oddities that we are. You know what? Embrace it. It's marvelous, because as you go out, you should be funky and strange and peculiar. You know, one of those things like my family does, there's this commandment about wearing tzitzits, you know? It's like the only outward expression for your reminder. Like he says in the book of Numbers, also in Deuteronomy, and then later in Mark and Matthew, when he's talking about this woman who gets healed from this bleeding disorder, she grabs onto the fringes of his garment. It was his tzitzits. Those were his reminder between him and his Father about his covenant. These are literally reminders to us not to turn to the right or to the left, but to walk in the commandments, to obey his voice. This is a physical witness sign. They used to have these WWJD bracelets back in the 90s that were the thing. This is it. People think about these wedding rings and these reminders that we put on our bodies or tokens to remind ourselves that we are not our own. Those are those reminders for me. When I look at those and I make these, they get tattered and chewed up and damaged in my day-to-day life, and I lose them occasionally. And I literally have to sit down every so often and reflect upon my life. Where have I fallen short? Where have I screwed up? Where have I grown? Where have I matured since the last time I sat and did that? And it's literally given me this relational experience with my Father that makes me every so often periodically remember that I need to renew my vows to him, my covenant to him, that I need to restore that and cling to that, just like I have to do with my wife. I've got to check in with her and cultivate that relationship and see how are we doing. Like, we are constantly in this rat race of raising 4 children, 2 twin babies right now. It gets busy. Days come and go super fast. We are up at all kinds of different times. Sometimes one of my babies will wake up 25 times in the night. Like, we are barely hanging on a lot of times. But then if we have these moments where we pull away, we just check in with each other, it builds that relationship, it deepens our roots, and it makes us stronger to weather the storms. Like the tree I'm sitting on right here did not survive the storm. It blew over, it snapped in half and it blew over. But you know what? This is not what our goal is in life. We are supposed to deepen our roots and to be strong oaks of righteousness so that when the storms come, we are still bearing fruit in its season. This is the beauty of what Psalms is. When in doubt, pull your sword out. Turn to Psalms, man. I'm telling you, one of my go-to default passages. You're having trouble with sleep attacks, sleep paralysis, read Psalm 91 before you go to bed. Every night. Every night. Like my daughters right now, man, they're so cute. They're learning Proverbs 31. They're memorizing the whole chapter with my wife. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. This is one of my defaults. Oh my gosh, my book of Obadiah is ripped in half. Father. There's a good message in there. Don't mind the tiny wolf that's barking in the background. It's okay. That's not the wolf I'm looking for. Blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and he meditates in his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither. And whatever he does prospers. The wrong are not so. They are like chaff which the wind blows away. Therefore the wrong shall not rise in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahuwah knows the ways of the righteous, but the way of the wrong comes to nothing. I hope you all will be of good cheer tonight. And you know what? No matter what the enemy has in store for you, remember the identity, your authority that has been given to you in the Messiah. Live valiantly every single day of your life, because the days may be evil, but you were born for such a time as this. Love y'all. I'll talk to you soon.